Then, of course, government has said that it is going to make grains available. I am for conditional cash transfer, but only if it will be transparently done. Only if it will go to the people who need, the poorest of the poor, who need the money the most. We've seen countries do conditional cash transfer, so I cannot dismiss it. But giving 8,000 naira to people, to 12 million families, does not really make any sense, because at the end of the day, how much does it come to? We can still do conditional cash transfer higher than what was initially proposed, but the transparency has to be guaranteed. It has to get to the people who need it the most. And then add that to providing grains, staple foods, rice, beans, millet, those foods that Nigerians love to eat, the poorest in our midst, what they love to eat the most. Provide those grains, distribute them at state, federal, and even local government level, so that we can mitigate this pain until such a time when we can say, yes, we are, the situation is getting better and better. One of the things that made this situation so bad is that it came at the same time as the flotation of the Nigerian currency. The Naira has slid against international currencies, against the dollar, because the dollar is the medium by which oil transactions are done globally. So with the Naira sliding to about 800 to the dollar, of course it will reflect on the price of petrol. So that is what actually even made it worse, because initially um, it was 460, the official window, but now in the importers and in the import and export window, which is the window that CBN sanctioned, it is much higher than 460. That used to be the price by which government business and even importation of petrol was being done. So definitely, once that once the naira slides to the level that it has uh, gone to now, definitely it will affect the landing cost of petrol. That is what has made it worse. There are people who argue that Ashwaju should not have come up with the flotation of the naira immediately. But the flotation of the naira was another way to put an end to the subsidy regime in the foreign exchange market. So he was bent on solving that problem. And usually, new governments uh, try to come up with their reform, their policies early into the administration, not late into it. So he had his reasons,
Right.
but we have to admit that things have not been funny to Nigerians, and the government will continue to lose face, lose the support of Nigerians if it does not move rapidly, get all the governors involved. This is not a job for the federal government alone. All the
Yeah,
state
BKO.
governors who are now earning much more than they were earning before, they also have to be involved. They also need to come up with palliatives. Look at what the Borno governor has done, buying 80 vehicles, 30 pickup vans, and 50 luxury buses. Before anybody even thought of anything, Zulum, the
Yeah.
quick thinking governor, had already done that. Of course, he has to do more. When the funds are available, I'm sure he will do more, but he has set himself apart as the best governor of his generation. And
Absolutely,
this is
BKO.
what we are seeing. Yes. So this is what we are seeing. We need to do a lot more. There is tension in the air. You can cut the tension with a knife. There's tension in the country. People are angry. People can't go to work the way they want. People can't feed their families. People can't access Medicare the way they would love to, because their incomes are shrinking rapidly. And a government, a government that wants to be taken seriously has to address these problems frontally and show that, look, we mean well. We want
Right.
things to get better in our country.
Absolutely. That is one thing you're known for. Whoever you say the truth, no matter whose horse is God. Lami Lameri, I hope I pronounced the name well, says, Mr. Babajide, it is act of recklessness to remove subsidy with our refineries not working. I kept shouting on top of my voice that why are you not pushing for refinery to work before any removal of subsidy? Fabian says, Joe Ajaero would never have acted in this manner if Peter Obi was elected president. He must adopt a new tactic that would deliver benefit for the Nigerian workers. He's too political and hot-tempered. Evangelist Julius Omorigwe says, subsidy removal is a good idea. These things should have been anticipated. Let's be patient with the president. President Buhari did a great harm by programming it to fall immediately after his exit. Patrick Dorojaye says, we are seeing rascality at the highest order from the NLC, from the way the NLC president is behaving. This person asked a question, but before I take his question, Sammy S says, just watch out. They will read his comment. Now, I mean Fabian's comment. Okay, so he was saying that we'll read Fabian's comment because we always read his comments. It is not that we single out comments. You can see that I've read so many other comments before I got to Fabian's comments. Write reasonable comments, speak to the issues, we'll read the comment. At least the comments we're reading are actually there for you to see. Marvin Odita says, same removal of subsidy that Tinubu said he will use to invest in education, yet government is increasing fees for federal government secondary schools and universities. So what's the point? BKO, this person is asking this question.
Well, the decision to increase school fees had been taken before Tinubu took over. The only thing you can blame him for, go and check even the date on those circulars. The only thing you can accuse him of doing is not reversing that decision. And I do not support reversing the decision. In the unity schools, for example, government cannot break even by getting people to pay less than 100,000 and they are in boarding house. You have to feed them. In these difficult times, how do you manage to do that? Even in Lagos schools here, the public schools in Lagos, those model schools, they increased school fees about 2 years ago. So that is why most government establishments fail, because you can't run them conveniently when you are not receiving as much as you want to receive. You will have a lot to receive from I mean, by way of the budget. The resources are shrinking. So you have to do something. You have to do something. This, up till now, for the universities, they've not even increased tuition fees. People are responding to what happened in Unilag and all that. I still think that a situation in which students of Unilag, some of them have accommodation outside the university and they pay up to $1 million. Yet, what is the cost of accommodation on campus? Let's tell ourselves this too. This kind of freebies that we've been enjoying for years, they can't continue. That's why Nigeria is broke. Nigeria servicing debt with more than 93% of its revenue. It can't continue, except we want to kill our country. People need to pay a little bit more. Private universities, people are putting their children in private universities. Look at how much they are charging. People are putting their children in private secondary schools. They charge higher than federal universities. That's secondary school, so charging in some cases more than 3 times higher than secondary schools, private secondary schools, charging more than 3 times or even 4 times more than what federal universities are charging. So that is that. I do not support sinking money into the refineries, and I have no regrets. We have wasted so much money on refineries, turnaround maintenance, turnaround that led to nowhere. If we had known, we should have spent that money to build new refineries Angola just built new refinery through build, operate, and transfer. We should have encouraged the building of new refineries, or at best, even sold our refineries to the private sector. Obasanjo tried to do that. Yaradua came and cancelled the transaction because Labour will continue to insist that no, let them no, don't touch the refinery so that they can keep their members who are doing nothing at their jobs. NNPC pays extortionate salaries to their staff. Yet, in 1 year, listen to me, in 1 year, Kaduna Refinery refined petrol amounting to 50 million liters in a whole year, which is not even up to what Nigeria consumes in 1 day. One of our most modern refineries could only do 50 million liters in a whole year. Shouldn't we be ashamed? Let us go and look at how much has been spent on those refineries by way of turnaround maintenance. They are enough to build several refineries. And when the government of Buhari came into office, I remember the vice president there promising modular refineries, because that's the way to go.
Yeah.
How many people still build refineries as big as Yaradua's, as Dangote's refineries? People don't need to build such gigantic refineries anymore. Build smaller refineries. What do you want to do with 650,000 barrels a day refineries? What do you want to do with them? So we've got to. I do not support wasting money on, because civil servants will be waiting just to steal the money.
Yeah.
Once the money is allocated, they made up their money mind up to steal. I will not encourage that. I will not encourage that. I believe that we will still get there. But let us even see, and those refineries that people are shouting about,
Yeah.
what is their present installed capacity? What is their present capacity? Even at their installed capacity, they cannot satisfy us anymore. Refineries built in the 60s, and the remaining two, Kaduna built in 1980. At that time, what was the population of Nigeria in 1963?
Absolutely, BKO.
Compared to now. So they can't even serve our needs fully anymore.